Identifying.
Standby one. Let's go. Let's go.
You're about to experience the uncensored conversations, stimulating wit, and the thought-provoking wisdom. Bold, raw, and uncut. Right now, on the LanceScurv Show.
I have to say, welcome back again, brother. The people absolutely loved you, and I just want us to flow again as a teaser. We haven't worked out a time or a day, but let me just ask you publicly: would Saturday evening, like really late, be good for you?
Yeah, definitely. Whenever you open, man.
Okay. We'll set a time.
I know you're a busy person.
Well, and I'm glad I'm getting this on the recording so people can hear that we are going to do something on Saturday night late. I'll promote it. I'll get it out there, and I'll make sure nobody missed it. There's so many people who love the exchange and love what you had to say, and it's quite refreshing because there's just so much out here now, put out here, that just blinds us, you know? And when you hear something real and something that's not stiff and rehearsed, and so, you're not coming out here like you're trying to impress anybody. You're not coming out here like you have some selfish agenda. You're just sharing what you know from the heart, and I appreciate that. And I'm just speaking on behalf of everybody else who's heard you. And I want to, look, I'm gonna be honest, and I'm gonna shut up. When you called, right? It's like the second before I looked at the phone, I knew it was you. And when I woke up, I say like this, no homo. When I woke up, you were the first person that popped in my mind. And I said, you know what? For this weekend, I got to get you back on. I look down and I see your name in the phone. Now, how crazy is that? And
man,
I went to bed like in the wee hours. And, I can get the full 8-9 hours of sleep according to my schedule, but I always jump up much earlier with enthusiasm for each day. Like, maybe I can get this done or get that done. And then I saw it and I said, wait a second, we got to do something real quick this morning as a precursor and a teaser and a promotional snippet for Saturday night. But let me shut up, man. Whatever you want to flow on, just let's flow, man. I mean, anywhere we start is a good thing, How are you feeling this morning?
Hey, man, appreciate it, man. I'm feeling awesome, man. I'm feeling spirit, man. It's just it got me up kind of early actually today because I've been up. I was up and I had to go back to sleep, but it's just when you're in full power.
Yes.
You can feel it.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Just on charge, because I think you told me that you was up too.
Yeah.
So I know that's a spiritual thing.
Yeah. I didn't get to bed till 6 o'clock this morning. See what I'm saying? 6 o'clock, and I worked 2 jobs yesterday.
I called you too, but I was like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want to disturb you.
Man, hit me anytime. If I'm really knocked out, I won't hear the phone. I'll keep it low enough that if I'm up, I'll hear it, and if I'm really knocked out, I won't. But I'm so jumpy when it comes to this particular time period, jumpy in a good way. It's like a fighter before the fight. You've trained, you've meditated, you've made your game plan, you're ready. And in this particular time period of my life, I'm ready to jump on anything righteous and do what I have to do, because lots of times we forget, like when you look at a basketball player, and I'm not really into basketball, but this is a popular example. Look at Michael Jordan. As great as he was as a basketball player, he had his signature moments, which were high points. And so to get those high points, you have to stay in the game. It's not like you're going to make a high point or something that's good enough to be a visual bite to put up and say, okay, these are the 10 best moments of his career. They come, but you have to be in the game. You have to have that stick-to-itiveness. So for me, I could have slept a little more, but I'm feeling real good because when it's all said and done, there will be time to sleep and rest. But these are the signature moments that we put out there. And who knows what's going to come out of this conversation for somebody out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We need unity, man. We need to come together. That's basically how they got control over us right now. That's based on the motto of the United States, which is divide and conquer.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? they never talk about who they're talking about dividing and conquering. They just say divide and conquer, and they're talking about us. They're talking about anyone outside of the white race. This is how they control a system. You know what I'm saying? And because I was looking at people in the conscious community, and it kind of turned me off, to be honest with you, because
same here.
I was looking at people in the conscious community, you know, like Sanetter and Brother Umar Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not talking about them, you know what I'm saying? I love my brothers, but it's a lot of confusion going on these platforms now, where it's like we coming at each other, and we're not coming. It's supposed to be about unity.
Exactly.
And I see a lot of battles, and I'm like, what is this, rap? What is this, a rap battle? You know,
but you know what's going to happen? You know what's going to? I don't want it to happen, but the way it's gearing up, somebody's going to get hurt physically. Somebody's going to get hurt. People are making threats. People are finding out people's business and where they live, and you know, each one of these people. I'm not saying anybody specifically, but they have their crew. And it's never really the person who is in the battle. It's one of the people in the crew who has something to prove to that person in the battle. So I got my boys back. You know what? I got this. And then the person who has the platform hears about it. It's like, yo, you know, who did this? And he gets the call. I got him for you. It's crazy out here.
And you're right. And most of that is ego-based, man.
Mm-hmm.
I heard a rant from Dr. Umar Johnson or whatever. He says he's a doctor, but whatever, it doesn't matter because that's given by the white man anyway. And I know I'm proud to say I don't have a PhD or a doctorate or that type of training from white people, because whenever someone gives you something, they rule over you. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm talking about any award, any type of that's a form of control, because if I make the award, I'm the standard of excellence to give you the award. You see what I'm saying? So you can never supersede a system that gives you something. So, yeah, you know, but I just see a lot of ignorance. You know what I'm saying? These people are supposed to be scholars, and they're supposed to be setting an example for the other black young men especially, and young women. And, you know, it's like, is this a facade or something? You know what I mean? And you know, when I come, I just try to come with the knowledge. You know what I'm saying? I try to leave my ego out of it.
Exactly.
And I think about me as just a part of a whole with black people. You see what I'm saying? I don't see myself as I did this and I did that. You know what I'm saying? Because that's ego, and that's how you get trapped.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they keep us fighting with each other. See what I'm saying? And then they don't even have to do anything. We will divide ourselves.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, we're dealing with being black, you're dealing with a triple prison. The triple prison. You know what I'm saying? You're dealing with the prison of the physical body. Then you're dealing with the prison of law, which was created by a white man. Which is an artificial law that he created to supersede natural law by writing on pieces of paper that's supposed to govern your natural life.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's a prison, and then we're dealing with another prison in the United States based on white supremacy. So being a black man right now, man, it's you got to be pretty strong to deal with this type of confinement, man. It's really because I used to work all different type of jobs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm from Chicago,
mm-hmm.
so and at one point I lived in Atlanta, but just growing up, I've worked almost every job you can imagine, and I remember being on a job sitting there, and I was thinking about it, and the time was going by. And I felt like I was trapped. And I said,
mm-hmm.
I said, you know what? I said, I wonder why do they pay by the hour? I said, why? I mean, they do have commission-based jobs, but for the most part, they want to keep you on a system of paying you by the hour. And so I looked at that, and I understand that it's based on See, time is a higher currency than money. So it's no different if you're on a job, and no diss to anybody who's working a job, you know what I'm saying? Because
right.
you gotta make a living.
Right.
But I'm talking about how this is set up. This is a form of imprisonment because there's no different from an employee on a job than a prisoner. You see what I'm saying? I'm going to tell you why.
Tell it.
I'll tell you why. In prison, you serve time. In prison, you are confined to a small area. In prison, you are told when you can eat, when you can go to the bath. Well, you have a washroom, but they control your schedule. They tell you what to do. They give you a uniform. You have someone that watches you and based on your behavior, reprimands you or can give you punishment. So we see that as something separate than in society. But when you're on a job, in certain situations, you are serving time because you work by time. You are confined to a small area usually, whether it's a cubicle, whether it's a small section on that job. You are told when you can eat. You see what I'm saying? It's a parallel there.
Exactly.
You think you're free on these jobs, and it's the same mechanism. You know what I'm saying? It's no different. The only thing is you get to go home, go to sleep, and come back.
Work release.
So that's what. Yeah. So that's why it's very important to own a business or whatever you have to own it. That's the name of the game.
And you know, the other thing also, what I find very funny is that so many people on their jobs are so mentally dominated by their jobs, which I always refer to as the plantation, because I have one of those jobs. But for me, my mind is never really there. I only function enough to get the task done. My ego is not tied into it. And this is one of the tactics that they use. You know, they make it seem when you first get there, welcome aboard, welcome, you know, we're part of the team and, you know, our stock and our company. But when they decide to get rid of you, there is no our anymore. You own nothing. You see, so you feel like a used whore. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But when they're home, when these work release plantation subjects are home, they're thinking about the job on their own private time. And that's the thing that I refuse to do. You know, I refuse to deal with the clock. I drive a bus down here in Orlando, Florida, and everything is the clock. You're 2 minutes fast, too fast. You have to slow it down. You're behind. The traffic is heavy. You have to detour. There's always the monkey on your back. Once your eyes lock on that road, you're there for the day. Your bodily functions even become secondary, and I've learned to train them. See, but when they are home, oh God, it could be a week that they have off from going there. And the first day into that so-called free week, they're saying, oh God, I got 6 more days before I got to go back to that damn job. The next day, oh God, I got 5. And they're paralyzed because they're thinking about a job that's not thinking about them, that will function and go on even if they drop dead at that particular moment. So why are you letting this particular job dominate your mind? So when I'm on the job, there are a lot of people around me. I do my job. I fulfill what little they say to do, but I'm networking. In my mind, instead of picking up people for someone else, I'm driving around networking for my agenda on their tab, and they're paying me. See? So you have to change the mentality that you have when you are on these jobs. What is it that it can offer you beyond the hierarchy of that job? What can you get from them also? If not, you get what you pay for. Instead of complaining about a raise, you'll get what you pay for.
Exactly. And that's using your mind to maximize the situation. You see what I'm saying? You can take advantage of that situation with the people that you come in contact with studying how that job works, that maybe you could replicate that and own your own.
Yes.
And use the job as a study. See what I'm saying? Use the job as a study to see the advantages and disadvantages of the job, and maybe you can start your own.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
That's how I look at it. A paid internship. If I work a job, it's a paid internship to learn about the business that I can set up to become a competitor or to own it. Because they got a popular game, you know about Monopoly. It's one of the classic.
Oh, yes.
American
I grew up playing that game.
That's right. That game is the United States.
Mm-hmm.
That's real. See what I'm saying? That's a simulation board game to train you. And David Rockefeller just died.
Yeah.
A couple of days ago, or a few days ago. And the Monopoly logo, or the man on the Monopoly board, is fashioned after John D. Rockefeller,
Mm-hmm.
which is David Rockefeller's father.
Mm-hmm.
Wait a minute. I think I broke out there. Bottom line, this is real, though. I've been looking at how they've been taking out black ownership across the board. And I think we talked about this, we touched on it a little bit on the last recording.
Yes.
When I was talking about how they steal, like from Sophia Stewart, and come up with the white matrix, or they steal from the rap culture and rock and roll culture, and now it's white. Well, I was going to touch on some of the things that they have stole when it comes to ownership, like with Michael Jackson. He owned the Beatles catalog, which is worth billions of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And somehow they're setting this thing up. I even looked at it further. You know, the children that they say are Michael Jackson's children
Yeah.
have no biological DNA from him.
That's obvious. That's obvious.
Yes, they are. They're what?
Your connection's kind of breaking up, brother. I don't know if you moved to a bad spot.
Yeah, hold on. Let me change this. Okay, you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah, they are pure white. They are pure Caucasian. There is no black blood. You can look at their features and you can tell that those are not Michael Jackson's children.
Exactly.
So I thought ahead, because I have a younger brother. I have a few younger siblings, and because of the age gap, he grew up not knowing who Michael Jackson was, and that was hard for me to, because that's a given. Oh, you know who Michael Jackson is. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
But I had to educate him, and he had to go look at film on who Michael Jackson was. So that made me think of the situation, how they're setting this up with these white children who are the inheritors of his fortune, that when this new generation, a new child is born, when those kids now, when they become 30 and 40 years old, who they claim are his children, guess what? The new generation is going to say, they're not going to see Michael Jackson. They're going to see those white kids, and they're going to say, oh, Michael Jackson must have been white.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And they won't have to deal with the issues that Michael Jackson dealt with in life. They can slowly fade away because they're white.
That's right. But I'm saying, look at down the line. You telling me that white children are Michael Jackson's children. So if they have kids or whatever, that's the thing with history. The further down the line it goes, the more clouded it becomes, until it becomes totally white. This is the history of everything black. Religion. I mean, anything. You know what I'm saying? It's the roots of it are black, and then when you go down the line, white people are claiming it.
Mm-hmm.
So I just see how they set that up. And then I see how anybody black that owns something, for some reason ends up getting taken out, or the ownership changes hands.
On that note, I have to mention this. And my dear friend Michael Scott, he lives out in Las Vegas right now. We grew up together, doing bodybuilding together, and we were always very close. We lost contact. We came back into contact, and I'll make this brief. But I guess his parents weren't together. I guess they divorced or whatever. He was with his mother, and his father lived out in Las Vegas. And he always told me that his father was really into music, but we never thought about, and he didn't even really think about how deep his father was into music. And I never thought about it. I remember one time he called his father and got a answer machine, and he let me hear a little musical message that he had. And I thought it was amusing. You know, when we got back in contact again, you know, we come to find out that my dear friend who I grew up with, his father's name is Otis Blackwell, right? And I'm like, okay.
Oh, wow.
You know who that is? Most people don't, but let me just tell you, it's so funny. Otis Blackwell, I'm going to read a piece from his Wikipedia page. It's just so funny we bring it up, so I said, let me just interject this. Otis Blackwell, February 16, 1931, May 6, 2002, was an African-American songwriter, singer, and pianist whose work significantly influenced rock and roll. His compositions include Fever, recorded by Little Willie John, Great Balls of Fire, and Breathless, recorded by Jerry Lee Lewis, Don't Be Cruel, All Shook Up, Return to Sender, recorded by Elvis Presley, and Handyman, recorded by Jimmy Jones. Now, there is like a multitude. His nickname is the cornerstone of rock and roll, right? And I mean every group, all modern, up to the modern time. We're talking about guys like the one who was married to Iman, the Beatles. I mean, and he had his business acumen accurate. It wasn't where any of these people stole his music. So he was on David Letterman. Now, his particular songs that he sung really never made the top 40, but as a writer, and he was good. I mean, he was on David Letterman. I want people to YouTube this. Otis Blackwell, David Letterman. Put it on there, and you'll pull up when he sung Return to Sender. I believe it was, Don't Be Cruel. He sung Don't Be Cruel on the show, and it was better than Elvis Presley, right? Because he wrote it. So my dear friend is, you know, every month rolls around, he's living pretty good right now. But Elvis Presley, and this man wrote the songs for him, and, you know, his son is my buddy growing up. I'm just so proud to be so close to that history, but that's an example. But they don't showcase this. And so while we have our conscious brothers and sisters out there on their ego platforms, why don't we talk about a real live history that we can touch, that the mainstream really doesn't push, but they know?
That's right. That's right. Watching news is very hard for me. That's why I keep the TV off. You know what I'm saying? I might look at a few internet articles or something, but they totally ignore black excellence or black people who are successful, and they don't use that image. They cut it down. Because I was doing research on his name is Reginald Lewis. Have you heard of him?
Yes.
This man was a billionaire. This man was the standard of excellence. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Back in the 60s, he was a billionaire. And for him not to, I could talk to a black person, they don't know who he is, but they know who a rapper is, or they know who a basketball player is. And this man was the epitome of excellence back in a time where it was more racist or overtly racist than it is today. And for him to do that, owning a food supermarket chain worth billions of dollars, and going to a prestigious college, and having his own firm, and I mean, I was like, how could this not be? How could I have not seen this? You know what I'm saying?
Well, they don't want you to. They don't want you to, because you're going to derive strength from that, and then you'll be strengthened knowing that, well, I can do this because someone who looks like me, someone who I can relate to,
that's right,
did it. And subconsciously you draw. It's like this, right? No matter what sport you pick, it could be track, it could be weightlifting, it could be anything, right? When you have those barriers, right? It's a record that hasn't been broken. Like, say, for example, to do a particular lift and it's 500 pounds, everybody got 497, 498, 499 and a half, but nobody broke that 500-pound barrier, right? Now somebody comes along and lifts 500 pounds, 501 quarter pounds. That next year, everybody starts getting 500 and a half, 500, 501.
Yep.
You see what I mean? Yep. So on that principle alone, we know that we can do it when we know it, especially when it's historical and already done. So if you can remove that thing that we can step on as a stepping stone mentally, and then we have all this stuff coming at us to remind us that we are nothing and we can't do it, and you have no examples of it, then we're not going to do it. We got to be motivated. And this is, I have to say, I'm so proud of myself. I usually use cable TV to refer to different things, and I don't take it as gospel. I use it for the visuals and just to jumpstart my thought processes on what they're saying in the media, which I speak to people directly all over the world to get my stuff anyway. I cut my cable. I got extra $200 in my pocket. You know what I mean?
There you go.
You know what I mean? I feel so good about that.
Yes. And like I said, the problem with television is a one-way. See, if I told you, hey, Brother Lance, I got a brainwashing machine. I have a machine that's a brainwash machine. What would you imagine it look like?
It would be a television. It would be something that you have to sit down in front of and absorb, the one-way communication. And that's what it is.
Like when you go in a theater, this is a science. See what I'm saying? These people have mastered. Just like in Nazi Germany.
Mm-hmm.
That whole thing was human experimentation. They tried to come and say it was about something religious or the Holocaust. No. They wanted to do human experimentation, and that was their justification. But I'm going to give you an example. When you sit in a theater, this is brainwashing, okay? You are sitting in a dark room, and you are staring at a screen for 1, sometimes 2.5 hours. And what happens is when you are first staring at it, you are not aware that you are starting to be hypnotized. After maybe 10 to 15 minutes, you go into a state where you are totally zoomed in to the content. So they go right to your subconscious mind. And if I told, see, we're used to this, so we don't think about it. But if I told you, hey, I want you to go in a dark room. I got this dark room. I want you to look at this screen. And whatever you see on there, you're not in control of it. But I want you to stare at this screen for 2 hours straight. You would say, that sounds a little weird. You know what I'm saying? You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But we do it because it has become a common practice. But the television is very powerful. It is derived basically from advanced science, like I said, based on melanin, which is the technology. Because if you follow the history before TV was made, how all of a sudden the TV just pop up? You see what I'm saying? A device that you can view people at a distance. A device where you can, like if you go back, matter of fact, if you go back to the 40s, if you go back to the 30s, television, how we have it now, they would see that as some type of witchcraft or some type of advanced tech. They're like, how are you doing this?
Exactly.
How can I see somebody and I'm not there? Well, it was derived from before, the most popular thing before TV was Ouija board and crystal ball. Now, what is a crystal ball? When you look through a crystal ball, it's called scrying.
Mm-hmm.
So this is why, and you have to stare at the glass to scry. So you can see things, events, maybe the future. So they use this science to create the television that we have now, because you stare at a dark glass screen. You're staring at this screen, and you're able to see people from a distance. You're able to see all type of images that are produced on this screen, even if they're not real. So I'm saying they use this as a control mechanism. You know what I'm saying? In our culture, and you can't argue with the TV. If I say something right now that you don't agree with, you can ask me a question.
Right.
You can interface with me, or you can basically voice your disagreement. With a TV, it is a one-way stream. You look at it, and that is it. It's almost like rape. The reason I say that is there is no laws on commercials yet, but a commercial is rape. I'm going to tell you why a commercial is rape. It's mind rape. Because whether you want to see the commercial or not, they show it to you. They make you watch the commercial. So since they know the science of the brain, it takes 7 times for things to go from short-term memory to long-term memory. That's how the brain works regardless. The brain is like a computer.
Yes.
So it has to respond, even if you don't like the material. If you hear a song 7 times, I don't care if you hate the song, you're going to be singing that song. So when you are forced to watch commercials, whether you like them or not, the 7th time that you see that, they have won. They have raped you basically by giving you something in a repetitious manner that your brain now has stored in long-term memory, and they got the advantage over you. So I thought about that, and I said, man, there needs to be something.
That's an excellent point.
Yeah, there needs to be control over what you watch. You know what I'm saying? It's a one-way. If I'm watching a news story and I know it's a fake news story, there's no way for me to call in. There's no way for me to. All I can do is watch. So it's a very it's a powerless, like basically hypnosis works where the person it's a one-way, it's a passive experience.
Yes.
And when you sit in front of a screen that long, just imagine a person looking at you from the back of the TV, right? And they're observing you. If they were to observe you and you watch how long hours go by that your eyes are staring at this screen, you can understand mind control.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And this is how it's man, there's so many things they got as weapons in the United States on the black mind. The mind is invisible. The brain, you can take the brain out and look at it, but the mind is invisible. And it's the most powerful thing, like I was telling you, the unseen, the black, the void. That is the highest. So your mind is the highest, but you can't see your mind. Now, I can take my brain out, or I could take someone's brain out and show you the brain. And what does the brain look like when you look at it? It looks like a maze.
Yes.
Because it is a maze. You have to fight your brain and the pathways of the brain to get anything manifested. So, like, if you want to invent something, your brain, you have to fight the brain. The brain is in the way of manifestation. So if I want to draw a picture, I have to hold it in my mind long enough to be able to put it on a physical medium,
Right.
paper. You see what I'm saying? But your brain is resisting you. So this is one of the, when I was talking about the spiritual enslavement that we are in, your brain is your enemy. See what I'm saying? Your mind is where all the power is, but you got to fight this brain. And that was, like I said, if you read Greek mythology, it was talking about Prometheus creating the humans from the ashes. Well, one of the most restraining components of that was the human brain. You see what I'm saying? To keep you locked down.
You know, it's such a mighty creation, the human brain.
Yeah.
And it's such a evil thing, brilliantly evil, to be able to use it against us. And for those who, what is it, the Bible or the Quran that says the devil, Satan, comes to you in the straight path. So instead of coming to you in an obvious way, he comes to you in ways that seem righteous. So instead of, poisoning you, well, he'll poison the food or let you create bad food and eat yourself to death. And just get involved in all different types of things that seem innocent. Sexuality is a wonderful thing, but we'll take it out of the context and we'll be deceived and it will kill us. You combine that with some HIV and a lot of porn, a lot of lust, some intoxicants, you have a deadly cocktail. But it seems like, well, this is natural. And we can tell ourselves this. We can tell ourselves that, eating the pork is natural and eating all this bad food after the church service is natural, and then turn around and talk about, oh, the devil's a liar. I just had a stroke. That's the devil coming after me. No, that's Satan using your ignorance against you through your brain by making the wrong decisions in your dietary, So we need to seek that knowledge. And like you said before in our first broadcast, why is it that we're told not to go toward the tree of life and seek the knowledge? Who would want us not to know? And then give us a brain. God, the Creator, gave us a brain, but doesn't want us to know anything. So what's up with that?
Brain for you to know. Well, see, this is the confinement. So this is the problem that really bothers me when I go to any church. And I don't go to church no more, by the way, because I can't handle it. I have to walk out of it. There's so much ignorance. But bottom line, if this story was told the correct way, the correct interpretation of that story, it will be a powerful story.
Mm-hmm.
The story is talking about basically the tree of knowledge, the knowledge of good and evil. But this is a real thing, man. This is real. It's basically talking about how knowledge can give you power. And if you actually read that story, they demonize the serpent in the story. And they say that was Satan. Nowhere in the Bible does it say it was Satan. It said it was a talking serpent or a serpent on the tree.
Right.
That serpent on the tree is the staff of Asclepius. You see what I'm saying? That's the staff of wisdom, knowledge. This is what they were symbolizing. But bottom line, you got Jehovah in the story, and he's the jealous God, Jehovah.
Mm-hmm.
If you look up the Hebrew word for Hova, Hova means calamity, misfortune. And the word Jah means Lord. So he calls himself Jehovah. He tells them to not take or eat from that tree of knowledge. But the serpent tells him, no, he's mad that you will be like him, knowing what he knows, and therefore you will be his opponent, and he won't be able to rule over you. Now, in church, they tell you that they were deceived into eating it, and that it was a bad thing. In actuality, if you actually read, this is the problem with church. You listen to a pastor or a preacher, but you don't read yourself,
right,
to get your own. You see what I'm saying? Because they have agendas in church. See what I'm saying? So, but bottom line, the serpent never lied in that story. He says, for in the day that you eat it, your eyes shall be open. And lo and behold, let me see if I can pull that up.
Mm-hmm.
I'll pull up the scripture so you can see. It actually says, once they ate, it says, and their eyes were open. Hold on, let me see something.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if I can find it. But basically, I'm going to try to...
Oh, I'll take your word for it. And those who are listening will do the same and check it out, if you can't find it. But you're right. And we don't... And church has become that one-way communication. Because from what I heard, that gathering of people, it was like an open discussion. Of course, someone, organized it basically, but people sat around each other on the same level as opposed to, us sitting on one side looking up to this pulpit where there's one man talking or a group of people talking. It was more of a back and forth thing. So I don't understand.
Right.
I mean, it has the same effects as TV when you go there. You're just sitting there. You might be able to jump up and depending on what denomination, get in the spirit, do the Pentecostal thing or whatever. But we focus on being seen when we go there. You know, it's one way, but it's a little more interactive in the fact that we can jump up and make a noise, and we can passively, silently get our ways of being noticed and seen, walking to the front, sashaying, paying our tithes, and the flamboyant hats and the shoes and the tight dresses and the cleavage and that has nothing to do with the Most High. That churchified foolishness has nothing to do with the Most High. You have women who spend 3 and 4 hours, if not more, in the mirror, changing 4 and 5 outfits out. My butt look too big. How did it look? It looked tight. Is it too tight? I want it tight now. Looking for a man.
Fashion show, man.
What are you going there for? You know, and then don't forget the time in the beauty parlor and the money spent. You know, and the funny thing is, beauty parlor, go to a white neighborhood and find a beauty parlor. You won't find it. You'll find a hair salon. Why is it that with black women, our sisters, and the so-called salons that are directed toward them, it's always called a beauty salon? Like they're not beautiful, to reinforce that they're not beautiful, and you come here to get your beauty. The white women don't go to beauty salons. They don't have those signs up there. See, so these little tricks. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you, man. I heard Brother Dick Gregory touch on that.
Exactly.
Black women that are only women that go to buy beauty or beauty supply. If you don't have beauty, you gotta buy it. You know what I'm saying? You're not
right.
good as you are. But yeah, for all the people who are Christians or whatever, I encourage everybody to question everything. Anything that does not allow you to ask questions, you got to be very, very aware of.
Right.
Because there's something going on there. And the fact that in church, they don't allow questions in church. You know what I'm saying? I've experienced this. You know what I'm saying? Oh, well, wait after service for that. Or wait, I'm going to pray on that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, well, hold on.
How'd they spell pray? P-R-E-Y?
Yeah, P-R-E-Y, exactly. Predator and prey. And these preachers are predators. They're taking your money when you go on these services, and your communities don't have anything for it. I told people, because we're talking about the devastated neighborhoods where these churches reside, I had a simple solution for that. Just in Atlanta, Georgia, they take in over $70 million per Sunday. With the churches combined, it's $70 million every week. Okay? If you took, in America, these churches that gather this money, that is tax-free, by the way, okay, our neighborhoods could look better if we took one Sunday out of the year and we said, okay, take that one Sunday and everything that you collect that Sunday, we're going to put that in a neighborhood investment. Or the church needs to buy a grocery store that is owned by the church for the community, or buy a corner store, buy a gas station with the church. Why do I go to these areas and this church collects all this money and the community has nothing?
Nothing of its own.
Nothing. And
right.
It's tax-free money. You know what I mean? So it's like me investing in something just for nothing. The fact that you dress up, show up to a service, to just hear some songs and whatever, and give your money. You see what I'm saying? They hear the same regurgitated information because they never expound upon anything. It's basically just ritual and tradition. You know what I'm saying?
That's all it is.
They don't expound upon anything. And another thing, since we was talking about church, why is it in church they never talk about the face of God? You know what I'm saying? The face of God is in the Bible.
Wow.
Yeah, I never heard them talk about the third eye in church. Now, I grew up in church, okay? I grew up, my family was, man, I got tired of church. I went to church 3 to 5 days a week. Church. Pentecostal church, Apostolic church, Catholic church, any type of church, I knew it up and down. And I said, wait a minute, why don't they talk about the third eye? They still don't to this day. You know why?
Why?
Because that is the awakening. That is the awakening. When you talk about the third eye, then you got to get off of the commercialism of church, and you got to actually talk about some real knowledge. And see, if church, this is my problem with church. Church would actually be real and powerful if it was not controlled by the person delivering the information.
Right.
If church was real, they would give you the information for you to do it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? For you to empower yourself. But it's a one-way system, even in church. It's like watching TV. Like what you were just saying a moment ago. It's a one-way
system of control.
You can't question your preacher. Yes. Mind control. So in that respect, and even if you look at the setup of church, I found out that every church is a franchise of the Roman Catholic Church.
Ooh, tell us about that.
Okay, when you look at the pulpit, you got a big chair in the middle. Okay? And then you got people facing what you call the pastor or whatever. He's the king. It's the same setup. If you look at the kingdom in the United Kingdom, if you look at the way they have it set up with the queen and the king, that is how every church is set up. See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And this is why it is tax-free. Matter of fact, there is no known business in the world more profitable than church. Why? You get to collect money tax-free without selling a product, without selling a service, without no receipts, okay? And it's already set up for you. If I told you, okay, I'm making good money, Lance. I'm making some good money. Oh, what you doing? Or what you selling, brother? Oh, I'm not selling anything. You're not selling anything? What you mean? No, I don't got no receipts. And all the money is tax free. You be like, hey man, hey, that don't sound legal, man. You sure you ain't you sure you? I'm like, yeah. You see what I'm saying? That's what church is.
Yeah.
And they are like that because it's set up for white supremacy and control, just like a McDonald's. They are all set up the same. And that's why I was telling people, I was saying, why don't you see black images in these churches if it was real? I haven't went to a church yet where they have a black Jesus. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Why can't you put a black Jesus in your church? Why can't you put black angels in your church? Because it's Roman Catholic. That's why. And because the imagery, the word image means eye magic.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying? So your eye, I'll basically put it like this. I remember I was touching on, when we was talking about in Genesis, that was the story of the fall, right? Well, your body is set up to show you the fall. The fall, basically, we're at the point of writing, right?
Yeah.
So we write. We write now. Everything is text. That is the lowest way to communicate ever. But when you talk to white people, oh, this is efficient. Your eyes speak in a much more efficient language than your hands.
Yes.
So if I go through if you look at the hierarchy on your body, this is how it works. The very top is the brain and third eye. That's the speed of thought.
Mm-hmm.
Speed of thought cannot be measured.
Right.
That's how fast a thought is. A thought could be less than 150 milliseconds. You can't even measure that. So that's the brain speed. That's the speed of thought, or the speed of the mind. Third eye. So then you go down further from the brain, the forehead. You go down. It's a fall again in vibration. The speed of light, your eyes.
Yes.
Speed of light is 186,000 miles per second. That's your eyes. That's when light touches your eyes. Everything you see in life, you see as an image. You're looking at a person. You're looking at a place. You're looking at whatever. That is a higher language. So then you go further down, you get the speed of sound, which is your ears and your mouth. That's 343 meters per second, or 767 miles per hour. So the speed, so that's another slowdown in volume.
Right.
So that means the speed of light is 870,000 times faster than the speed of sound. So that's what they mean by a picture is worth 1,000 words. It's a higher frequency. So then you go further down from sound, and you get to the speed of writing, or the speed of words per minute. How many words you can write per minute. This is a very low way to communicate. This is how we communicate. It's
almost like having different speeds offerings from the cable company. You want a faster speed, with your modem. You know what I mean? So in the hood, well, we got the free one, but look, you got the cheapest, slowest one. You know what I mean? You get what you pay for. You can get the faster speed and download things faster, or you can go cheaper. And you go on and try to save money, trying to be slick.
Right.
You're not going to get it as fast.
You're not going to get it.
For those, I had to throw that analogy out there. But I got you, though. I never heard it that way before. I mean, it was excellent.
Yeah, that's the fall that we went from. We went from the invisible. Your thoughts are invisible. I can't show you my thoughts, but they are there. But I can show you a picture. I can show you a book or writing. But this is all physical. So you see how it's the same story in Genesis, coming from the invisible realm to the physical. And once it shows up in the physical, it is slowed down, less efficient. Meaning, if I could send you my thought, that is a complete form. I wouldn't have to draw it. I wouldn't have to say it. I wouldn't have to write it. You would get it, a complete thought, but that's invisible. So we have to communicate in the physical ways, which are less efficient. And I might send you a picture, but you might not get what I meant in the audio. I might send you the audio, you might not get what I meant. So I have to write. You see what I'm saying?
Yes. And see, this is why it's very important, eye contact. This is why it's very important to observe people in their natural element when they don't even know that you're observing them. And this is what they do to us with all of these cameras around and all of these cameras in the television set looking back at us when we're sitting back, holding our nutsack naked, eating popcorn, watching TV, digging our toes. They see us in our natural. It's the truth. I believe that. And if you don't believe on the inside of your house, on the outside, they're the ultimate voyeurs. They want to watch. They want to decode. You know why? Because they naturally cannot go to the higher frequencies like us. So to conquer us, they got to study us hard and dumb us down on drugs, on alcohol, on lust, on anger, on meltdowns, on YouTube and fighting and all of this stuff. We lower our frequency and we switch with them, and they have the artificial means to heighten it and take time and dissect it. So how many times have we walked down another neighborhood? I'd like to say community, but us black people most often just have neighborhoods, and we're not from that particular neighborhood. We might be in a different state. I'm a New Yorker. I lay my head in Orlando, Florida, but I'm a New Yorker to the bone. I might come up there with you to Chicago, and they're parallels, right? They're parallels, but for some reason, no matter how much I try to blend in, walk close to the wall, don't get any eye contact, bop my head to the headphones that don't have any music playing because I'm using it as a cover to listen to what's going on around me because I know I don't belong around there. I'm not from there. But I look someone in the eye and I know when danger is about to jump off, and they've given me no physical signs. Or I look a female in the eye, going back to my single days, and I know we're about to bed each other down without saying a word. We have that. And even on the lower levels and almost decadent levels, I'm not going to knock the brothers who are selling drugs, but yes, I can knock them, but hopefully they'll evolve out of that. But on the lower levels that we reside in for survival, even still, we operate on a spiritual level. You know why? Because that dope dealer knows who's there to cop. yo, he's looking the cop, man. Go talk to him. Or he might be a cop. Don't talk to him. You see what I mean? And with all of the electronic means, for the most part, we do very well. I'm not saying well like it's a good thing. I'm just saying we do very well without their gadgetry to be elusive to them when we are doing dirt. Ain't that something?
Yeah.
And we say to ourselves who don't do it, man, they've been out there selling them drugs for the last 8 months and they ain't get caught yet. And there's cops going up and down. Although we know that the cops usually the ones who are benefiting from it. But when you have a situation where they're coming after the brothers are like meerkats, man. One on this corner, one on top of this roof, old fat lady in the window on the 5th floor giving hand signs. We just know how to be elusive in the eye contact, and that's a bad utilization of our third eye.
Yeah, that's a sense, man. It's a sense. But see, when you this is the problem with educated black people. When you get educated by the white man, you are done for. You see what I'm saying? You got a man who is by birth malfunction. He's a malformed person, and he's giving you a science about yourself when he doesn't even have all of the components that you have to observe everything. So when you read science and you see a white model, and it's a white man as the model of the science, you need to throw that book in the garbage, because they tell you, like you were just describing, a sense that even we don't are not aware that we have. So what is that? They tell you got 5 senses. No, the white man and animals have 5 senses. You have more than 5 senses, and there's no such thing as 5 senses anyway.
Right.
And I can explain that really quick. There's only one sense as far as the human body is concerned. That is touch. Touch is the only sense. You call it taste. Something has to touch your tongue for you to taste it. You call it hearing. Something has to touch your eardrums for you to hear it. You call it smell. Something has to touch your nostrils for you to smell. You call it touch. Something has to touch your physical body. It's all touch. But they tell you it's different senses, and it's not. And there's another sense, or the 6th sense, like they made a movie, but this is real. The 6th sense is what you were just describing. That's your intuition, and that is invisible. See what I'm saying? That's when you can feel something is not right. You can feel something, like you were saying, looking in someone's eyes, and there's not a word said, and you can feel danger, or you can feel that you need to get out of the area, or you can feel when someone is negative. That's a real sense. But if you ask the white man and his science, oh, that doesn't exist. You know, we got 5 senses. No, he does. And that's why he's not aware on the things that we are aware of. We are a highly sensitive being. And I had, it's so much problems when we attend these white schools in America. The worst thing as a black person you could do is send your child to a white school.
Mental slaughter.
Because now
mental, physical, and spiritual slaughter.
Yes, it's programming, and you are learning from someone who was lesser than you. Imagine that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And you know what?
Like me.
I believe their agenda is to spot the talent and the greatness and hack it down early and misdirect it early. That's what I believe. It's a farming system to quell greatness from emerging, to help our community and to help us grow as others. It's a filtering system, and they sugarcoat it. I really believe that.
Yes.
They spot. That's why they have their rating systems. That's a smart nigger over there. Why is it that some of the best brains that we have are in prison? Why is that? Because from early on they were spotted and tagged. And those are the ones who had the most problems. When you have the most talent and when you have the most ability that comes from the inside naturally, and you go to these jobs, you're the one who has the most problem. Because you can't overthrow what they do there. And you can't overthrow this community. And like, what is said about controlling law, controlling education, controlling the medical systems, healthcare,
Right.
controlling so-called religion. Are we the ones in control in our community of those different factions? And maybe I forgot the media, communication between the people. We're not even in control. The radio stations now may play some R&B from back in the day. But physically, right then and there in your city, you have no contact with that media because it's a national situation. The Michael Baisden Show, as it used to be. He'd record all of the different, well, we have a traffic jam on I-95. Oh, we have a traffic jam on whatever highway in Texas, whatever highway in Chicago, whatever, and to make it seem local. I'm not saying he's bad. But what about our local media? We don't control that. So as long as you're not moving in those directions, and like they said, oh, Malcolm, you can be a carpenter. Malcolm X, oh, Malcolm, you don't have to be a lawyer. You can be this. You're good with your hands. They did the same thing to Farrakhan. They did the same thing to me.
Yeah.
And I'm quite sure they try to do the same thing to you. You watch what they put, what seeds they put in our mind when we're younger to divert that natural God-given ability. You see?
That's right. Because you will supersede. They have to control the forum.
Yes.
Because if they allow competition, we will always exceed them. So here's someone who's supposed to be so inferior to you based on your psychology and based on what you say. Black people are inferior. But last time I looked, let me look in entertainment. We are the best singers. We are the best everything, the best entertainers, the best comedians, the best artists, the best musicians. And basically, if you look at the Olympics, I used to think the Olympics were for entertainment. The Olympics is a scientific experiment done every 4 years to measure the DNA of all the races. If you look at the Olympic sign, if you look at the Olympic sign, in the middle is the black ring. All the other rings come out of the black ring. And who excels in the Olympics when they measure the genetics of one race versus another in a controlled environment? It's always the black person. We dominate, and this is their way to see how we are progressing. It's a progress. It's a benchmark. You see what I'm saying?
Phenomenal.
And this is what I'm saying as far as the control. If I know you're going to beat me, and I have 400, 500 years ahead of you, but you can still catch up to me, I can't let you compete. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because it's going to make me look even worse. Because now I got a head start, and you can come in with nothing, and you can just beat me naturally when I have all the help, all the assistance. You see what I'm saying? This is why they are so fearing. And as far as what you were saying, as far as the control or whatever, they use magic. You see what I'm saying? Magic is not a good or bad thing. It's a double-edged sword.
Yes.
The user, it's like a weapon. A gun is not bad. It's the person shooting the weapon. So the English language is what? Spelling. In school, what do? You spelling. It spells. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah, it spells. Television is all about magic. Every term about television is magic.
Wow.
Okay? When you watch TV and they show you those images that you can't control, like I said, to brainwash you, what is it called when they show the image on the screen? A broadcast. A cast. They're casting spells. You see what I'm saying? The magicians of the modern day. A magician is a person who creates illusion. Television producers are the modern day magicians. Okay? When you are on a movie set, it's called the cast.
Wow.
The people on the cast are called the stars. These are all magical terms. When you change the TV station, it's called a channel, a TV channel.
Man, you scaring me. Keep going, though. And to say it streetway, man, you effing me up right now. Go ahead. I love it, though.
When you use the remote control, you are remote viewing. You know what I'm saying? You are viewing. When you, it goes on and on, man. It's all magic-based. And they confine us with the law. Law, what is law? Law is words on paper that once you sign it and you do a signature, that's why they need you to sign it, because it's a spell. Everything in the English language that you write with the letters, you are letting in, let her, to let in, or to let her. Okay? So when you write something and you go to a lawyer, or a judge, when they write these contracts out, they're using the English language and they need you to sign it because the spell will not work unless you sign. You have to sign. Once you sign, you have made the spell work.
And they want you to sign in cursive.
In cursive.
In cursive.
Right. See? Pick it up. In cursive.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Cursing. To bind. In cursive writing is to write in a style and a fashion where the words are all looped together. It's creating a bind. You see what I'm saying? It's a bind on you. And that's why they call it a binding contract or a binding agreement. So when you sign it, you have given your authority for that spell to work. And unless you cancel that contract, they have a contract over your life, including every police officer. Do you know how much power police officers have?
Yeah.
This is unreal. A police officer can write away your life by writing a charge that is therefore to confine you to a cell for the rest of your life based on their own discretion. That's a lot of power. You know what I'm saying? Forget the gun.
Right.
So, you got to, if you learn about magic, you'll see the English language is the worst language on the planet.
And this is why they try to divert us from law. They try to divert us from being the movers and shakers and thinkers in our community who can have that power. Because the police officer may have the gun, but guns are plentiful everywhere I've gone. Yeah. Legal and so-called illegal, and they all shoot well. It's the person behind it. But what about encouraging our children to become those movers and shakers instead of saying, well, my child's going to be the next Lil Wayne. My child's going to be the next LeBron James. Yes, those guys make money, but how many people are in that position? Far and few between. You have a better shot of serving your community and doing more damage to that control that's over you when you get involved in becoming a mover and a shaker in either law, education, health field, media, which of course you're going to have to be so-called alternative media. You're not going to group up and jam up with them and be the so-called radical element. They're not going to allow, nobody allows a virus into their computer. Hey, Ison, I just caught the worst virus, man. What's your email address, man? I want to send it to you. They're not going to allow that because they have their agenda. But you can do that from the outside and you can go covert, undercover in their system and become a righteous virus, whatever the field of endeavor that you're in. And that's why we have to walk and move in code because when they spot us, they can be against each other. Well, Bill, I think you're a damn prick. I want nothing to do with you, but I'm calling you because that LanceScurv, that guy, you need to watch him. He's got all kinds of people around him talking this radical mess, and I think we're going to have problems with him down the line. So you better watch him. You know what I mean? And that's what we need to be.
You do. We do. And we don't have anything private.
Oh, no.
The other thing,
right.
We have no private. You have the Illuminati, or the so-called Illuminati, which means enlightened ones. We are the enlightened ones right now. This is the real Illuminati.
Right.
But these are secret societies. You see what I'm saying? And what I'm saying is there is no black. I mean, they have a black masonry, but it's nothing but a archetype of a white trying to fit in with white people. What I'm saying is there is no secret place I can go with black people right now. If you go to church, that's controlled.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And it's monitored.
You have the agents there, big time.
Exactly. So we need something that is not monitored. You see what I'm saying? They have places where we can't go. Try to go over in the Mason Temple and see what's going to happen.
Exactly. Let me tell you something. I've had people reach out to me, in this game, and I call it a game. It's my hobby. But you have people who come around, they want to do a little interview or they want to talk a little bit, whatever. They come around like gangbusters and boom, they're gone into thin air. What do you think that is? But then again, see, I know what it is. I knew what it was before, the end result happened. I already know. So even with these entities, feed them false information. Make them think that they're close to you. You will know who is real by the way they talk, by the lack of fear that they possess, and what their prior mission was. See, so it's almost like getting a request from a fake Facebook page. Okay, I can't speak for the ladies. I can speak as a man. But fellas, have you ever gotten a request to be friends with a person that you don't know on Facebook, but they're in a G-string or a thong? Breast, titties hanging out, face pretty, lips got the lipstick on it, and they're sucking in like they might be sucking on a candy cane. Promises of pleasures to be felt and experienced. And most fellas are like, click, I want to be her friend. And when you look down in the friends list, you see all these brothers that are friends with this white woman who doesn't look like she'd ever walk down your street, or anybody, could be a sister. And what are you thinking? And then all of a sudden you get all of these ads sent to your page for sunglasses or some kind of sneakers and ads. And that's what it was. But look at the tactic, though. Look at the tactic.
Right.
All you need is a nice big butt, big breast, tiny waist, and a pretty smile. And for the most part, you're in. And people like that come at me all the time. I'm on the bus and I got passages a couple later on. Hey, Scurv, man, how come you get all these women coming at you? I said, they ain't coming at me for me. They just want to get information from me. It's not about me. I am not flattered by that. And that's one way to strike us. So we need to be careful as men, and ladies, you need to be careful also. Because that knight in shining armor, when you do have an agenda and they deem you as radical, all that comes to you that seems good may not be good. And understand that people who are in your circle can be bought off, can be influenced. The more of a threat you are, the more you have coming at you that way. And if you don't compromise, you just have to eventually snuff you out somehow.
Exactly. And see, that's coming from a wise person like yourself who has the experience to know that. But when it comes to young people or people without the experience, they jump, like you said, right away. As soon as they see it, don't even think about it. Hey, what you got to ask yourself, what is this person trying to gain from me? You know what I'm saying?
It reminds me.
What does this person want from me?
I don't know if anybody out here really saw this photo, and we're going to wrap it up soon in about maybe 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Okay. I just want to say this and I'll let you flow on out. And again, for everybody listening, we're going to have our show Saturday night going into Sunday morning. What date is that? Today is the 23rd. It'll be the 25th. If I do schedule it for 12:30 a.m., that will be the 26th, but it will be Saturday night for the most part, whether it's early Sunday morning, Saturday night. And if I can do it earlier, I will. We're going to finalize that time. We're going to have it live where we can speak with Brother Ison, and we're going to have him speak in flow. And when he's ready, we'll open up the lines to have the dialogue and go real deep, because folks have been hitting me up about you. But I wanted to mention this photo that I've seen floating around on the internet. And if I can find it, I'll put it up. It's a photo of a mermaid, and she's on water's edge. And this is this is not an actual picture that was staged. This was an illustration drawn by someone. So certain realistic aspects of it were bent to make a point. But she was in the water from the waist up. And you had the actual land. And you had a young man who looked at this woman who was a mermaid. And she had a really beautiful face. Tiny waist, full luscious breasts, long flowing hair. Everything about her was just so appealing. And so he's talking to her in a way where, I mean, it wasn't a comic book, but you can see in this illustration that he was engaged so deeply in the eye contact. And I think she was reaching up to him and he was reaching out to her. Basically, it was on, right? But what the man on the land did not see from our perspective viewing this illustration was that under the water, that he couldn't see now, under the water, holding up all of the land was nothing but skulls. And these skulls were women, I'm not sorry, not women, well, maybe it was. This is 2017. These skulls, right? It could be a little bit of everything up there, right? I'm surprised I didn't see a doggy skull right down there, right? Bestiality, everything, no holds barred now. But anyway, the way I took it was those were the men that she seduced and killed. And I don't mean just I'm going to kill you, but tied up, killed, destroyed, made impotent in life. And I'm not demonizing women, because we could do the same illustration for the woman with a man in the skulls of women, but that's to show you what's out there. Whatever your thing is, those evil forces and agencies will create it to appeal to you, and you'll be like that little snake with the snake charmer. And you'll just be just like a zombie walking behind. So be careful who you open up to. Watch them for a long time. And in these days, we got to watch. I knew homegirl for about 6 months, so I think we can move to the next level. You don't know this chick. Even when you think you know, like I said, people in your own inner circles could be bought off because they got desires too. And when they get older, I didn't get my first million yet. I do want that bigger house. Yep. That car, I think I'll never get it, but I can get it if I do this. And And they can appeal to you not just on a money level, but a status level, on a giving you what you want level. It could be that handsome dude that serenades you and tells you how beautiful you are when everybody else all your life told you was damn ugly. So you buy into this. Exactly. You might be the man with the may I say it, with the short, limp penis that never worked. And this chick is screaming her brain, tearing up, daddy, it's yours. I've never experienced nothing. And you're like, well, hell, I gotta stick with this. I like these results. You wake up and she kissing it and worshiping it. Man, blew your mind, among other things. Now they got you. And now you're going to be one of those skulls under the water. Give me 5 minutes, man, and let's wrap this up.
Definitely, man. Yeah, I totally agree with what you just touched on. That's very, very good visual understanding of going with your physical desires and not using the intuition that we were talking about, that sense, that invisible sense, not using that and just engaging without thinking about the consequences. And the picture you're talking about, the way you're describing it, I believe that's similar to the story of the sirens. Have you heard about that?
Yeah, that might be it. That really might be it. But it struck me. Yeah. Yeah,
the story of Odysseus, where basically he is traveling and he's on his ship with these men, and they see these beautiful women, and they are singing. They're singing, but they're like off the shore, a little bit ways, so they would have to jump off the ship to swim over there. And they're passing these beautiful women. I mean, like, what you would imagine is a 10 or 11 or whatever.
15,
man. Perfect. And they are singing these songs where it's so powerful, they have to jump over ship. So Odysseus, he's the hero in the story, he covers his ears and he turns his head. When he looks back, 75% of his men jumped over. And they went over, and those same women, like you were saying, he saw them eating, devouring the men. You know what I'm saying? And it was nothing but bones in the background, like what you were talking about. It was bones from all the other people who jumped ship to go over there. So that is a very good metaphor of, having discipline in your physical body for your desires, because your desires are there to trap you if you are not disciplined. You know what I'm saying? And the consequences can be fatal. The consequences can be fatal. You know what I mean?
Yes.
The wrong person.
Yes.
You know how much HIV is out here? You know how much poison? And like I said, it looks like every time we find out a hack, there's something else that takes its place. Because I remember in the last conversation I was saying about the highest motivation in life is sex. And that's to bring more souls down here as a baby, right? Mm-hmm. So we figured out a hack for that. The condom, the contraception, birth control, the pill,
right,
the shot, right? And then as soon as we come up with that, HIV, AIDS, herpes. You see what I'm saying?
Yes,
so
yes.
It's like, it's always something to even this playing field out to make you confined to this physical. But I'm looking forward to the live show, man.
Yes.
'Cause I want to continue this because we have some powerful conversations, and especially your perspective. Because, like I said, the reason I chose you and I reached out to you is because I see a lot of other channels and they got way more hits, and that's something that puzzles me too. Some of your videos, I don't understand why they don't have more hits. I think it's selectively being targeted by Google.
Yes, no, that's a fact. I've spoken that before, and folks are saying, "Oh, you're crazy. Your conspiracy theory. Your stuff is crappy." But listen, this is what I live. This is what I live. Like, okay, you called me this morning. I was just waking up. I said, "Man, we got to get on it." I'm not going to say, "Oh, we can wait until Saturday." No. This every time I see an opening, I throw a knockout blow, well placed. But I'm ready to keep throwing those knockout blows all of my life. And if I do have this little channel, which will help to get the righteous stuff out there, so be it. But my hit counters are controlled, and that's to discourage me. And it doesn't. As you can see, it inspires me. Because how the hell are you going to have 300 hits on a video and get 2,000 responses? That means it's getting out there. And this is why I have it on multiple platforms. YouTube is simply one of them. But I have probably 15 or 20 other ones that I use on the audio tip that gets it out there. And if need be, I'll burn it to a CD and hand it to somebody. You know what I mean? So they can't stop me on the bus, in the street, in the supermarket, at the farmer's market, when I'm traveling. So I live this. So if they want to knock off the facade of a few hits or even stop it from getting out there to a point, so be it. My ego is not involved. I don't care who says what about me or who tries to assess if this is good or bad. I love constructive criticism. Don't get me wrong. But this is what I live. I'm home now in my studio. I'm about to go on the plantation. I live this. When I come home, I'm going to do the same thing. It's like peeing, taking a dump, brushing my teeth, taking a shower, whatever it is. I'm going to do this every day until God calls me. And
warrior.
Yeah. With the artwork, with the writing, with the everything. So I'm already sold out. I'm already all in on this. And I really appreciate you, man, for reaching out, and we're connected now. And hopefully this will connect you with others and grow you in your mission, your path. It's an honor. And yeah, you're right. The low hits don't bother me. I also have to say, big shout out to brother CIA. I didn't get a chance to email you back. Man, what you're doing for me is not just for me, but it helps me with the support that I get from brothers and sisters like yourself. It fires me up because it shows me not that you believe in me. I'm not no pimp preach or anything like that, but I am a catalyst. I'm a lightning rod. I'm a catalyst. So therefore, we can get brothers like Brother Ison here who say, man, I like that. And it's because of the support that you give me. I'm not PBS, getting millions of dollars of support. And support doesn't just mean money. I really never ask for that. I never, you can go to my PayPal. And so, no, I don't do that. If you're led to, fine. But Brother CIA, I have to really thank you, man, because I'm working hard out here to get these upgrades done. I'm going to go over and above what most people think. If you see the new gadgetry and the good people around me, I keep that stuff under wraps and then I just bust out. Now, if it gets to that point where I got everything going on like I'm going to have it later on this year and them hits are low, y'all know the government is stopping Brother Scurv. But Brother Ison, we're going to wrap this up, man. Much props and thank you for sharing your time. Your time is precious, and what you shared is the result of many, not hours, not days, not weeks or months, but years out of your life to be able to articulate it this way. And I don't mean like articulate like a white person. Well, he articulates well for a nigger. No, I'm not saying it that way, but just for you to break it down like that, to make it so easy for us to see the analogies. I love analogies. So you'll be my friend for life, but I thank you for that, man. And
appreciate you, brother.
I'm looking forward to Saturday night, Sunday morning, and I'm looking forward to everybody calling in. And I'll drop the link for that when I create it. I got to run out of here soon. So that way, those who are listening to this video and the other one, I'll drop the link for the Saturday Night Show there. I'll blast it. I'll take time. I always say that and sometimes don't do it all the way. But for this one, we got to make everybody know. I'm going to be like Don King on this bad boy and promote it. We might even be in Kinshasa, Zaire, like the Rebel in the Jungle would do it. Who knows? But it will reach the motherland and it'll reach all over. And agents out there, you know, you still got time. Take a little bit of this knowledge instead of trying to stop it. Use it, because the one who pays you, the one who you look up to, you know, there's doom for you also. So it's not too late to walk the righteous path. You know what you're doing is wrong, and you know what we're saying is right. That's all I'll say. Thank you, Ison.
Appreciate you, brother.
Much love, brother. Much love. I want to hear the comments. I want to hear from everybody who listens to this, and maybe if I set this up to be up before I leave, I'll get 15 minutes and nap and meditate on this, and then go on out and sing my Negro spirituals. Swing low, sweet chariot. The bus is coming to carry you home. Take care, brother. You know I'm always laughing, but I'm watching at the same time. I'm a very laughable assassin for righteousness. You know that, and you are too. You take care, brother.
All right, you too, man.
Thank you so much. All right, bye-bye.
Make sure to check out the boldest blog at LanceScurv.com and follow Scurv on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube under LanceScurv.